Hey, what's up everyone? Tyler here with Secureteam. Now before we start, I just want to let you know if you haven't seen it, I already posted a video for today and I'll put the link to it down below as well as at the end of this video. And it features some very mysterious things that have been discovered around our moon. So if you haven't seen that yet, be sure to watch it after this one. And so today's video is a bit of an update, a bit of a follow-up to a video, well, I think it may have been two videos I posted last week, where we were discussing how an American diplomat working in China began feeling ill. He started hearing sounds, he got really sick, and ended up having what he thought was a brain aneurysm, but at the very least, some sort of brain injury after having been hit with what many are calling a sonic mystery device, using, well, sound. Now, many of you may say, well, how can you use sound to actually physically hurt someone like this? And well, we'll get more to that in just a second. So if you remember, our channel was one of the first to break that story. We also, in that first video, spoke about what happened in Cuba a year or so before and how it looked eerily suspicious to what has now happened in China. Well, in Cuba, we had another one of these so-called sonic attacks at the American consulate, where some 20 people, American people, just as this gentleman in China began getting ill, they described having hearing loss, vision loss, the inability to speak suddenly. I mean, it's some really trippy stuff, some really scary stuff. I mean, just imagine you're in an office, you're doing your work, you're walking up and down the hall, and suddenly you don't know how to talk, you can't hear, you've gone blind, and it feels like your brain is cooking from something. I mean, talk about having a bad day. And so that occurred in Cuba. They never figured out what it came from, what this secret sonic apparatus was that was being used. If it was a sonic apparatus, where is it coming from? Who has that technology? That's the big question. And so things went a little quiet over the past week, but now the mainstream is just blowing up, picking up this story as well as a new story, which is the update in today's video, is that yet another couple of US diplomats in China have been made physically ill at the hands of this sonic enigma, as we'll call it. Now, there is a recent report here by The Independent asking the question if countries are using intrusive audio surveillance. Now, in this report, it states that the symptoms that these people are having, this very subtle and vague but abnormal sensations of sound and pressure, may not be the result of, well, at least a deliberate use of one of these sonic devices, but instead that these injuries are probably the side effect of intrusive surveillance. And so these sonic apparatuses fall into two categories, those that involve audible frequencies and those that are either ultrasonic or infrasonic and so are inaudible. Infrasonic devices, like the long-range acoustic device, rely on loud, low-frequency sounds, infrasound, and these bulky units have been used for crowd control and repelling pirates who are attempting to take over trade ships. And when on high power, the effects are like a punch to the gut, many have said, ranging from nausea to involuntary evacuation of the bowels. So really terrible stuff, but not what is being reported by these diplomats symptom-wise. Now, ultrasonic, high-frequency devices create bursts that have been used as a teenager repellent, and ultrasound is known to cause headaches and nausea. It also cannot be felt or heard, which fits the facts reported by these diplomats. And so has ultrasound been used against these people in China and Cuba? And so what we know is that the effect of sound on humans is very complex. It can vary depending on the frequency, modulation, the loudness, time of exposure, environment, and the age and the hearing characteristics of the individual. Some people are more sensitive than others, and although skin reflects 99.9% of ultrasonic sound waves, our ears are much more susceptible to the energy carried by those waves. So we kind of have an idea here, after what we just spoke about, of what type of device and what type of sound is being used here. Ultrasonic sound. Potentially, we don't know. So now, what are the ways, you guys may be asking, that this actually affects humans? What does it do to a human physically, these sound waves? Because to the layman, I mean, who would think that sound could do any damage to anybody? I certainly didn't know much about it. I've heard about these apparatuses, but I'd never seen it in action. And well, there are actually two ways that ultrasound can harm humans. The first is that it can heat up cells in the body, causing damage, kind of like a microwave. The second is that ultrasound can cause something called cavitation. Now, before we go into what this is, just know that all sound waves are longitudinal, or involve a cyclic pushing and pulling motion of molecules as the sound wave travels. And this happens in the air as well as when it travels through an object, such as the body. And so cavitation is when the pressure difference between a strong push and a strong pull in a very loud sound can cause bubbles to form. And this may occur in the fluid of the inner ear and in the body tissue or cells, and it can be transitory or sustained. In either case, it's not considered a good thing for bubbles to form in body tissue, something that you can ask any scuba diver. Now, another thing about ultrasound, if that is what is being used here, ultrasound is highly directional, meaning that you need to have a precise alignment in millimeters in order to steer an ultrasonic beam to actually hit someone from across a room. And every time they move, each emitter would have to carefully steer its beams accordingly. But then again, given the fact that it's pretty hard for even a powerful ultrasound to reach us, and that most of it bounces right off of our skin, it seems to be a strange choice for whatever device is being used against these people in Cuba and China, despite having some physical symptoms that these people are also facing. And not to mention the fact that all of these people were inside of an office building, walking up and down halls, in separate rooms and on separate floors. So how would you have an ultrasonic device pointed at these people unless it could actually look through walls? And again, these things have to be highly precise. They have, usually the target has to be standing still. But these people are behind walls, they're in different rooms, and yet they're all being hit. And that is what makes this even creepier and scarier. And so yeah, basically the question here is, we don't know. We don't know where this is coming from. Could it be the result of some sort of surveillance rather than a deliberate use of one of these devices? But why? For what purpose? And the fact that it happened in Cuba and now we're seeing it in China, and now we have an update from China saying more individuals are being hit by whatever this is. I mean, these two places are thousands of miles apart. It makes me wonder if this is some sort of device, maybe a satellite orbiting Earth that is using some sort of pulse, laser pulse, I don't know, but something is certainly going on here. Is it us at all? Could it be something coming from off planet that we don't know about? Could there be some sort of rift or tear in the matrix? And these individuals are getting some sort of interdimensional chatter, which is causing these symptoms to occur. I don't know, but, it truly is frightening, when you can't even hide from sound. Well, that's about the time you join with Secureteam and grab your tinfoil hat, put it on, look good like the rest of us, and look out for more videos until we can figure out what this is. So, tell me what you guys think. In all seriousness, I hope these people are okay, and that they figure out where this strange phenomenon is coming from. Stay tuned. If I have more updates, I'll post them. Be sure to subscribe, check back, share our videos, because lately I've been noticing that YouTube has almost completely cut our views in half. And the analytics show this. We are hardly being featured in suggested and recommended videos, at least for a large portion of people. And over the past week, my views have just, within a day, just gone from 600,000 to 700,000 down to 300,000 and 400,000. And it's definitely YouTube. It's nothing you guys or I did, because it happened within a day's time. So I don't know what's going on. But you guys just keep your support up for the channel, get the word out there, share these videos, and we'll keep rocking and rolling. So, you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back soon with much, much more.